it is a very difficult task to manage the situation with the polluted planet, and I'm not sure that the next generation will be capable to do it. So, especially because it is not the only challenge of for the next generation, the polluted planet. There are many other challenges, and I think that the responsibility of the younger generation will be very great, big, and I can only to have some confidence for the younger generations. Thank you.
I basically think it's up to our generation to change it, and I wouldn't see it as a border topic, but it's involving all the people that are here today and tomorrow to solve these issues starting from now.
So in relation to that, I personally disagree, in fact. I think it's a combination of the former generation and our generation, and it takes a combined effort to really solve this problem. Even though the previous generation may in part be more responsible, we are the ones who are going to inherit this planet and therefore are going to need to deal with whatever policy decisions and entrepreneurial decisions we make in the present.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think any sustainable solution that's going to fix environmental issues is going to have to come both from the top down and from the bottom down, and we'll need a collaborative approach to find the best solution that works for everyone. It's true, and it sometimes makes me angry that the old generation has left us a bad wicket, but we can't just complain. We're going to need to do something, and we're going to need to interact with the people in power to make that something sustainable.
So, as an Englishman, I'm intrigued by the reference to the younger generation being left with a poor wicket. And that's probably a good metaphor for the situation. I can certainly say that some of our generation probably didn't expect the outcomes, hadn't anticipated the consequences of earlier actions. But it's not too late. I think it is a situation where both the younger and older generations, the next generations, the next leaders have to work together. I'm optimistic that if we can work together, we should be able to work together, that we can find solutions to some of those issues. Some will be longer term, some will be more short term, but I'm confident actually that it isn't so much a clash of generations as a need to come together as different generations, and I think that should be possible. And here we are at Sangana. I think that's a good start. So a tricky wicket, but not one that's unplayable if we continue the cricket metaphor.
Yes, I do agree with the previous speaker, but I come from that country, Japan, where seniority matters. So senior people are respected. But as we discussed, we listen to people tend to live longer than 50 years ago. So that's senior people's role to give younger generation more opportunity. And so that's not clash of generations, but the role playing of senior people that has to be shared. And we are the first of a growing society. So we try, and you can learn from Japan's success and failures.
So in Nepal, the situation of class generation is quite different. Like each day 1,500 people, they are migrating in Arabian country, and most of the parents, they like to keep their children with them, but parents, they like to be abroad. So this is the one of the issues, and another, because of the modern technology and infrastructure. People, they like to take, good facility, and they like to enjoy their life in their way. So parents, they like to follow, cultural trend and cultural traditional values, but young people, they are not ready to follow the cultural trends and values, and this is the major causes for clash of generations. Thank you very much.
The last speaker spoke about how there is a clash between generations due to the use of technology and the way that the old and the young embrace technology. And he said that the young are quick to embrace new things, new technologies, and that the old are reluctant and move in a different way. And I agree with this. I think that we see it around the world. We see it in different contexts, particularly in business. Businesses are having to move with trends, and they're having to start to embrace the sorts of social media, for example, that we see, such as Facebook and Twitter. And businesses who fail to do that are essentially being left behind. And today we just attended a session where we heard about the absolutely fantastic initiatives that are going on in Africa to eradicate certain very, very pertinent social, cultural and health issues. And so I guess I would like to summarize it by saying that definitely there's still a clash between the generations, in that the young are adaptive, they're innovative, they're embracing technology, and the older generations are having to also adapt, but albeit maybe reluctantly at times, to also embrace technology. And so that would be how I would finish this statement. Thank you.
It's very tempting to assume that new technology favors the young because one's teenage children always seem to be able to do things faster than you do. And when it comes to Twitter, I have to confess that I, as a 50-year-old, struggle to communicate my ideas in 140 characters. I've also seen in my own business experience older employees fail because of their lack of technological competence. It can be as simple as being able to cope with an Excel spreadsheet. So it seems pretty obvious that the young have an advantage, and the more technological innovation, the bigger their advantage. There's only one catch, and the catch is that at least some of the innovations of recent years, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, are by and large a colossal waste of time. And one of the things that is most striking to me is the amount of time that I see young people wasting in essentially unproductive online activity. So one of the advantages I have as an old person is that I can still concentrate on one thing for hours at a time without being distracted by email or Twitter or some inane blog. And you should never underestimate the advantage that we oldies have when it comes to simple concentration.
I would say that I actually think that the older generation has the chance to learn from the younger generation on how to use some of these tools like Twitter and Facebook and texting faster. And that, in fact, maybe as the younger generation, it's our duty to teach them and to actually maybe impart that knowledge of how to be more efficient and how to be more how to give statements that are that in 140 characters, how to use that to advantage in order to transmit your message more clearly. So I think that there's an opportunity here that it's not an advantage of one group over the other, but it's more an opportunity to teach the older generation the perspective of the younger generation, how to use the technology to their advantage.
The statement was that the younger generation should teach the older generation about media and all the stuff that's going on in the 21st century. I don't agree with that statement. I think the older generation might be a little bit older and they never grew up with all the things we're growing up, but they're not senile. My father actually uses Twitter, and he found out how to use it himself. I didn't have to teach him, and I think most older people are perfectly capable of finding out how Twitter and Facebook work. So that's my response to the statement. I'll propose a new statement. I think the major clash of generations it's not about misunderstanding. It's not financial. I think it's the environmental challenge, because the way we're using the earth right now. So also the younger generation, it has huge influences on every generation to come. So I think that is the main challenge we're facing here. I hope to hear some interesting perspectives on that.
I don't believe that there is a clash of generations. I think there are social stratifications within generations that actually mean that there are lots of intra-generational clashes along class, along gender, along race. In the country where I come from, South Africa, I think the clash is actually about the few that are wealthy and the majority that are poor. So I believe that is the real clash that we're all facing. And we've seen that in other countries around the world. In the US, the 1% and the 99%, and in Turkey and elsewhere. So.
Hello, my name is Maarten Wensing. I agree and I disagree with Didi. I agree with her on the account that there's many other challenges that we face, and clearly poverty is one of them, the divide between rich and poor. But it doesn't mean that there cannot be a clash between generations too. And I think it's up to us whether it's going to be a clash or not. We can make it a clash to use it as a tool to get what we want, instead of negotiating and making tiny incremental changes. So maybe we should choose to have a clash.
So my name is Jeffrey, and I do agree that we should choose to have a clash, actually, especially because my belief is that the clash we are talking about today is so far implicit, as we have been told by Professor Kotlikov yesterday. It is actually implicit, and this is what makes it dangerous. It's gone unnoticed, and it's gone undealt with, I would say. So the task for us is to make this clash explicit, of course, in a constructive manner, but definitely bring it to the floor and make it much more explicit than it has been so far.
Okay, my statement of the clash of generations is joined together. Joined together means people in different generations should be active to come together, to join together, and to hold together in future.
I tend to agree with that, and I think the differences in the diversity is what makes the innovation available and alive. And without innovation, nobody is going to survive and nobody is going to prosper. But so I think the differences in diversity is a great thing, and the clash of generations is the thing to go for.
I partly agree. I also think that differences between generations must be made explicit, because without differences, without each generation defining its own identity, there is no progress.
I couldn't agree more with the Dean of the university and my dear friend Thomas. At the end of the day, if you think about intergenerational dialogue, it's really about one generation taking the lead. In our case, it's the young generation, the students of St. Gallen. And what we do is merely enable them to actually challenge the elder generation. And if you're not strong enough to do that, then yes, there is no progress.